Hello and welcome to the Big Idea Show. I'm Lee Batchelor and today I'm joined by Sally Curd. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me today for what's going to be a discussion, isn't it, this time? Can you tell us what is it we're going to be discussing?
Okay, well, being a survivor of domestic abuse, I endeavour to inspire other survivors and victims to speak up by telling my own personal story.
Sounds wonderful. Very powerful message. I'm looking forward to this discussion, which we'll be hearing after these titles. Thank you for joining us here on the Big Idea Show. This is the show that explores big ideas and important discussions, particularly when it comes to motivation and mindset. Before we get into our interview with Sally, I want to say a big thank you to our sponsors, the Glass Whiteboard Company, and to our venue host, who are the Grand in Folkestone, for helping us make this possible. But without further ado, let's get on with our discussion. Sally, thank you for joining me today, and thank you in general, I think, for kind of having this discussion and speaking up for what, as you told us in the intro, is kind of a very big topic and a big challenging thing to talk about.
When you say about how big it is, just if you go from March 17 in that past year, from March 17, the facts and figures are that over 2 million people just in England and Wales from the ages of 16 to 59 experienced domestic abuse.
Yeah.
That's just 1 year. So there's all these people who aren't getting all the support and help they need because they don't have the courage to speak up or know how to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think this is a topic where it's very much about the personal, and I think it's wonderful that you are being that person that has the guts to do it. I've seen loads of the stuff you've done. You've been putting out online and speaking up, and we've chatted kind of before this, haven't we, about some of those things. But I want to kind of share that a bit further, and this is your platform really to keep going with that message. But let's start with why. Like, why is it so important for you to speak up right now?
In general, with anyone that works voluntary, or of course it's part of my business as well, when we see how much it's hurting other people like it hurt us, it just motivates us to do something. And it's so rewarding and therapeutic to know that you can help make a change, and also make a change of legislation so that less people go through what I went through, and people I know the things that they're going through, men and women. And yeah, it's just having that closure of that you can make a change and turn such negativity and pain into a positive.
Yeah. What was for you the moment where your kind of mindset, or maybe it was a few moments that switched, where you went, right, I've got to do something, or I've got to speak up, or I'm going to be that person? Take us back to that moment.
It was in my late 20s when I had more than because in my business I talk in people's homes, pretty much how we're having a casual chat now, and the amount of stories and information I got from people, and of course I have to keep confidentiality. I cannot force them to go to the police or social services, and I would then tell them, well look, I've been through this, I've had my ex-fiance's hands around my neck, I've been there, I've got a scar from when my brothers attacked me. I said I've been there, and I was able to get the support and help I need to have a happy and successful life. So it's realising there's so many people out there who will talk confidentially with friends and family members, but they're really just surviving rather than flourishing and going forward. They just talk and go through the day-to-day and survive as best they can, and getting them to move forward and tell them how I've moved forward. It's having a massive impact.
Yeah, definitely. And from chatting to you before, I think this is something that I think is really wonderful about what you're doing, is the first step is having that courage to take the first step. but also then I imagine there's then a big void of what comes next and rebuilding. So can you tell us what that was the kind of moment where you went, right, I'm gonna speak up. What's the process been since then? Okay. In the last however many years it's been?
I needed a platform to speak up. It's been absolutely amazing. I started working behind the scenes where it's very strictly confidential. But then an amazing woman called Lee Batchelor set up TEDx Folkestone back in 2017, and I was looking at volunteering, but of course I went abroad to do a different project, and that then got me thinking on what platforms are out there for me to go to a bigger audience and me to reach out to more people.
Definitely. So, like, you've kind of gone through that process. What has it been like for you, and how did you, I mean, it's very easy to say to people, okay, we need to speak up, but it's not as easy as doing that. It's like saying to someone, you should be more confident. It's not a switch on and off. What was the process and the learning for you, and what worked for you, and what would your kind of advice be on someone else?
Okay, I'd say that the first thing would be is to talk to friends and family. And it's so important that you've got that support network there to back you up. I know from personal experience and very close members of my family and friends, when going to the police, to social services, or whether it be Refuge, Women's Aid, and all the Samaritans, even talking to them, it is so draining and so hard, because in speaking you can take yourself back to where you were. And looking at the core issues, the professionals are amazing. I can absolutely vouch for myself. I've had counsellors, I've had so much different therapy, but having those people around you that know you and get you to support you around you as well is so important. You need that understanding. So in speaking out, make sure you've got someone there with you to support you as well, because it does take a lot. You're looking at your own issues while speaking out as well, and coming from that domestic violence background and what I've experienced, especially as a child, children naturally blame themselves, and if you've taken it into adulthood that it's your fault, or you've been told you're going to be arrested and put in prison because it's all your fault, or you did this. I was told myself that I seduced people. What as a child I did that? That they're told ridiculous things, but that's what they've been told, and they believe it. They're conditioned to believe it. So in speaking out, they have to radically change their mindset, but in doing that, their whole world is turned upside down while speaking up. That is why people like me need to speak up, and tell them that when you do first speak up, or people who've gone to court and told they're liars, so they think, right, I am wrong, I am a disaster, I am a failure, I won't speak up anymore. So fighting past that fight or flight and getting through to the other side, they need to know what's on the other side, and that's where people like me come into the picture.
Absolutely, I love it. It sounds so important what you're doing, and just so much respect for the journey you've gone on and speaking up. We're going to be hearing more about that and what comes next, I think, for you as well. We're going to have a quick break now, but we'll be chatting more after this break. Thank you. You're still here with us, with Sally today, and you've been telling us your wonderfully kind of powerful and just amazing story that you've had the courage, like a really tough story, but I think you tell it with kind of conviction that there is something on the other side, which it's kind of feel although it's a tough topic, it feels easy to talk about it with you. So that's wonderful. You're already doing the job that kind of I think you got your heart set on, haven't you? So what comes next for you? You've told us about where you kind of were and how other people maybe who are in that same stage now, but what comes next for you?
For me, it's a case of it does not stop here. It's going forward, looking 5-10 steps ahead, looking at bigger audiences, working with more organisations, and just really getting out there, getting myself out there. I'm doing that with more shows like this, YouTube, Facebook. I'm also collaborating with a amazing charity, so they're using me as like a front person to speak out as well. So it's just a case of now letting the right organisations and also within government as well know that I am available to speak, and I'm happy to speak.
Brilliant. So what are some of the challenges and the next thing you're taking on for yourself?
With anyone that's passionate about helping other people, and you want to save everybody, and it's been the very important thing of making sure I have that self-care in place so that I have the energy to speak with conviction, and with the energy that I have, that's been really important. I did get a bit burnt out last year. I collapsed on the train and things like that because I was just spreading myself too thin and getting a bit burnt out. So that's been a massive learning curve. It's a case of the more I look after myself, the more survivors and victims look after themselves, the more we can progress, move forward and help other people.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's really important, isn't it? You've got to look after you, because that is the message, I guess, overall that you're spreading. And what has been some of the response that you've had from people?
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Just knowing that you've changed someone's life, just one. Sorry.
That's all right.
It just really hits home how important it is to speak up. Yeah. Not that many years ago, in fact, just in 2015, I was on a cliff thinking of suicide. Yeah. And now when I think of if I'd done that, if I hadn't spoken up, if I hadn't defended myself, I wouldn't be helping so many people right now. And that is the rewarding part. That makes the sleepless nights worth it. Yeah. That makes the confrontation of people who've tried to shut me up in the past worth it. You know, with the things I've had with social services, the police, all the different debates that go on, and me having to use my brain as best I can to look up facts, figures, legislation to protect other people who've been through what I've been through, to know their rights and what's available to them, and what's on the other side. It doesn't matter where you come from, what you've been through, you absolutely have a right to have a happy and fulfilling life.
Definitely, and it sounds like it's learning to be that role model, isn't it? You are kind of definitely on that path. How does that feel for you? You said about learning and knowing that you deserve to be happy and looking forward to that, and in a lot of cases, knowing what that looks like for you. Yeah. What does it look like for you in, I don't know, the next 1, 2, 10 years, however far ahead you want to dream?
Well, for me, for anyone that's had a turbulent home life, it's the case of the happy ever after that we're sold as kids. Yeah. You know, and it's whatever that happy after is for you. For me, it's having my own home that's mine, that no one can throw me out of or abuse me in or hurt in. I'd just be completely happy, and it's a case of, within reason, I can pretty much do what I like. It's freedom, and that's what really comes across. And for me, it's been the freedom to face my fears and be able to go anywhere in the world, be in front of anybody, and put my message across.
Yeah, definitely that freedom of self-expression.
Yes.
I think whatever kind of things that people go through, you know, they may be in completely different situations, but when we feel free to express ourselves, and sometimes it doesn't always come out, does it, in the words, it can come out in creativity, but to find those words, sounds like something.
That's the beauty of what I've been creating, of making people aware. It doesn't matter where they come from, what they've been through, because I know it's like to work through issues. So it's more around people working through their personal issues and moving forward, rather than looking at a particular subject. So they could have been through racism. I've helped out with the adult industry. I've helped out with military. It's a case of people feel comfortable talking to me because they know I've been through hell and back. So they know I'm not going to judge, that they know I know it's tough. So people knowing that they can be listened to without judgment is so important.
Yeah, it's that very powerful vulnerability that
Yes.
you have a wonderful kind of ability to be so honest and open, which makes people able to be honest and open
Yes.
first, isn't it? You take that first scary step and it's really inspiring to see.
Well, that's what being a leader is about. It's not telling people how to do things, it's showing them and showing them that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay that that's what they've been through. Go forward. It's removing the shame and the different titles people put on things. At the end of the day, you are a human being, and you deserve to be able to move forward rather than being stuck where you are.
Yeah.
But that's when people need to know how they can move forward, and if one thing don't work, you can find another solution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's that mindset as well, isn't
Yes.
it? It's going to take time, but step by step, word by word.
And just showing with positivity and making them feel empowered, giving them their power back.
Yeah, definitely. Sally, it's been absolutely wonderful speaking. You could chat for hours because you're so passionate about speaking up. It's wonderful. But if people, I guess, want to follow your journey, where can they find out more about you, first off?
Okay, well, I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as Sally Curd, so that's SallyAnnecurd.
Yep.
And on Facebook, I am Sally Curd. You can also contact me through my business, which is Spirited Sally Readings Ltd. And yeah, if anyone would like me to speak for their organisation or to vulnerable groups of people, I do have a enhanced DBS check, so I am able to speak in schools to vulnerable adults. I'm more than happy to do that.
Definitely, definitely. And if people have been kind of affected by any of the issues you've kind of touched on tonight, where would you recommend they go and seek further help?
Well, it really depends on their situation, but the Samaritans are always available on the other end of the phone, as are Refuge. So if anything that I've spoken about has triggered something within people, those helplines are there, and from there they can look at all of the amazing charities and work that are available.
Definitely. Sally, thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to seeing your journey and your story and your message getting out there in the world, because I'm really sure that it definitely will be. And thank you for joining us, for tuning into the Big Ideas Show today, taking on some big discussions, some big topics, but very inspiring outlook on them. So thank you very much. And if you have a discussion, a topic or an idea that you think we should be discussing, if you'd like to come on the show and be that person who speaks up and makes a difference, then please get in touch. The Big Ideas Show on all of the social channels. And I have to say a final thank you to everyone who helps make this show possible. We have the Glass Whiteboard Company, we have the Grand in Folkestone, who are our venue, and we have all of our contributors. We have Hacks from Prisma Broadcast, we have Glenn on camera 2, and we have Hannah on camera 3, and we also have Warren from Flourish and Aaron from 6-2. And to our wonderful live audience, thank you very much for joining us today, and I'll see you next time. Can you tell us what is